Hello everyone, Sally here, and welcome back to another episode of Bugrock of the Week. Today we're going to be covering the recent 1.16 Nether update betas for the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. We're going to be playing a little bit of catch-up and covering the 1.16.100.52, 0.53, and 0.54 betas. So 3 betas, 1 video. There's a lot of bug fixes, a lot of parity changes, lots of mechanic changes, and in general a lot of different stuff that I think that you should know about. So stay tuned for today's episode. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Let's hop into it. So first things first, the bug report links for everything that we talk about will be, of course, linked down in the description of the video if you want additional information about any of those. And also, the feedback pages and the change logs will also be linked down in the description as well if you want more information and reading this for your brain. Second of all, we're going to be recording this video in the 0.100.55 beta, and this one has an interesting bug that you might notice. There's that little red arrow on the screen. That's actually our cursor. If we move around our mouse, you'll see that that red arrow actually moves around. So if you're wondering why there's a stupid, annoying red arrow on screen during this video, that's why. I can put it right in the middle of the screen just to annoy me. It's going to be poking me in the eye. We can actually see this bug in real time as well. If we load up a world and then I go click on another window like OBS or whatever, then I won't be selecting the game, and now I can go hover over this window. You can see my mouse and you can see that the red arrow actually follows it as well. So it's very annoying. That thing should not render, it should not exist, but you know what, it's there to stay, and it's gonna be our little buddy throughout today's video, and I'm gonna name it Daniel. If your name is Daniel, congratulations, you just got a free shout out in today's episode. So first up, we're gonna be covering the 1.16.100.52 beta. This is a relatively small beta, and I only want to talk about 3 things in it. First of all, they've changed the crafting recipe for the brewing stand to also work with blackstone now. So if we put in a blaze rod and 3 cobblestone, you can of course craft a brewing stand that way, but you can also now use blackstone as well, which is very nice. This is part of their effort to make living in the Nether fully self-sufficient. That way you don't need the overworld pretty much at all. So there you go. You can now craft the brewing stand. The second change from this beta that I want to cover is we can now pick block farmland and actually get the block of it. As you can see, we can now give ourselves a farmland by pick blocking. Very, very convenient. Oh, look at that. Daniel's flashing yellow. Interesting. You can also give yourself a farmland using the give command now as well. So if we do give, silent whisper, farmland, you can see that we can now get it with give commands. So kind of a minor deal, but it is very helpful for creative when designing, testing, and building various things. Another very nice minor change is now when you kill salmon or cod with fire aspect or any kind of fire, they will drop cooked fish. So as you can see, these guys are underwater. We kill them with a fire aspect sword, and they now drop cooked cod and salmon, which is a very good change, going to be very helpful in a variety of situations. This also works on campfires, lava, flame bows, basically all the ways that you can kill things with fire. They will drop themselves some cooked fish. So could save you a bit of cooking time there, depending on how you kill your fish. This does not affect magma blocks, however, so you might be thinking about your oceanic fish farms or squid farms. You're still going to be getting raw fish from those farms, which is kind of a good thing, because that means you can still put these fish into a furnace and then smelt them down for tons and tons of experience. Moving on to the 1.16.100.53 beta, there's only one change that I want to mention here, and this is having to do with the most minor bug in the world that was not useful for basically anything. But anyway, lava will no longer unrender behind honey and slime. So before you could actually see right through the lava into the bottom of the lava lakes and all that fun stuff. You might think it's useful for finding ancient debris. It wasn't. It was terrible, it was pointless, it was useless, and now it's been fixed, so we never have to worry about it again. And now it's time to cover the 1.16.100.54 beta. There's like 30 things that I want to cover in this one, and this is the one with the actually interesting stuff. Sorry to bore you with the boring stuff at the beginning of the video, but here we are. Let's get into the good stuff, shall we? So first of all, chains can now of course be placed in any direction, you know, vertically, horizontally. It's great. This is a lovely thing that Good Times with Scar definitely got added to the game. Definitely 100%. So you might be wondering, what is the height of this thing? Because now, of course, we have like a different height with the horizontal version, and the chains fit right in the middle of the most annoying staircase in the world. As you can see, it's right a little bit higher than the stone cutter and a little bit lower than the end rod. And this is like a 17-part staircase. I've seen these going around a little bit, and I figured I'd try my hand at it. It's a very gradual incline. It's very nice. I like it a lot. It's a good staircase. Would recommend. You should put this at all your entrances. We have even more changes to Piglins. These guys can now pick up and equip elytras, shields, turtle shells, and even mob heads as well. So if we throw down some of these things, you'll see, yeah, look at that. They look so stupid. I love it. Let's throw down some wither skeleton heads as well. Maybe we'll see these guys pick them up. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it is so dumb. I love it so much. They can't really use like the shields or the elytras, I don't believe, but they can actually equip them. It says that they can equip the shields. We're not seeing that happen. So if one of these guys kills you, they're straight up gonna pick up everything you own, and of course they drop it when they die. So something interesting about the Piglins is they actually seek out the elytra if you drop it on the ground. So there you go. Very strange. They actually like straight up go for it, including like mob heads and stuff like that. If they see it sitting on the ground, they're gonna walk over and put it on. Interesting. No other mob really does that. That's a very peculiar behavior, and they don't really share that behavior with anything else. That's kind of cool. I really like that. So if we spawn in another one, he's gonna go pick up that helmet. I like that behavior a lot, actually. That makes these guys way more unique and kind of like intelligent. There's been some pretty significant tweaks to the Nether biome generation, specifically for the Delta biomes and the Soul Sand valleys. So now instead of a netherrack ceiling, you'll either have basalt on the ceilings and soul sand and soul soil, as you can see here. I think there's still some tweaks to be made because as you can see on the walls, it is just netherrack, and you can really see the issue that I'm talking about over here. Looks a little bit strange, not quite ideal, and maybe that's not how it should be. Maybe that's how they want it, but it looks a little bit funky. We have a new minor bug fix for Striders. Striders with riders, either the little babies or pigmen, can now be tempted using a warped fungus on a stick. So as you can see, these guys now follow us, even though they already have a rider. We have two little fixes for the Piglins and the Piglin brutes. Now these guys will keep their equipped armor when they turn into zombies in the overworld, and Piglins that have picked up gold items such as blocks or nuggets or swords, as long as they put it into their inventory, they will drop it when they convert to a zombified pigman. As you can see, we got our gold back, which is very nice, and these guys both kept their armor. Now there is a little bit of a bug here, so if the Piglin is still examining an item, aka holding it in his hand and looking at it, and then converts it to a pigman, that item will still be visually in his hand. So you can see the footage on screen of that now. Still a little bit of a bug to be worked out. They should probably just drop it. And one more thing for brutes, they will now drop a 20 experience when killed instead of 10, like how they did in previous updates. We also have some more changes to the wither skeletons, piglin, brutes, and piglins. These guys will now all automatically attack each other, no hesitation, straight to war until one side is dead. And that's exactly how it should be. These guys are a warring species in Minecraft. So now you can use the piglins or the brutes to actually lure wither skeletons in a wither skeleton farm, which is fairly convenient, not gonna lie, I approve. And you can also use the wither skeletons to lure the piglins in a piglin farm if that's what you wanted to do. And next up we have an addition saying that the soul campfire now deals twice the damage of the normal campfire. However, I don't really see that being true. As you can see, we can summon in some creepers or some villagers or whatever, and everything dies at the same speed on both campfires, which is not ideal. We need these things to deal double damage. They're extremely helpful for mob farms, slime farms, and all kinds of stuff. So not fully fixed. Another nice addition for you builder peoples is that lanterns can now be placed underwater without them popping off, and of course they can hang from things and do all the stuff. So this is great for all of you people who like your metal candles to be placed underwater. You can now build with them in a variety of new situations. And now it's time for some fairly serious changes to the Piglin bartering loot tables. So from 1.16 through to 1.16.4, this is what the bartering loot table looks like. As you can see, pretty decent items, nothing terribly valuable except the netherite hose, of course, and of course potions, but that's what it looked like in the current updates. And in the new 1.16.100.54 beta, this is what the loot table is going to look like. So slightly changed and slightly tweaked. They're going to be adding arrows because we don't have spectral arrows on Bedrock Edition yet. Once we get those, we can see those get replaced in the loot table. We're going to be getting more blackstone in the loot table. We're going to be getting these water bottles, and they are replacing the nether brick blocks with these normal nether bricks. They are removing magma cream, they are removing glowstone dust, and they are removing a netherite hose from the loot tables as well. So if you want your netherite hose, or if you want any 4 of these items, do your bartering now, but also save some gold for the future because having a supply of blackstone is going to be very nice. Hoglins will now flee from a respawn anchor, which is kind of interesting. I don't really understand the logic behind this one, but then again, I've only thought about it for 10 seconds. So it doesn't even need to be a charged respawn anchor, even though charged respawn anchors also work. So if you don't have any warped fungus around, plop down a respawn anchor and these guys won't bother you. A small change to the iron golem. They will now strike first when it comes to attacking hoglins and zoglins. They no longer wait, and they have no mercy when it comes to attacking these guys. In previous updates, the hoglins and zoglins had to attack the golems first before they would fight back. I seriously could have done that pig only Bugrock because now we have another bug fix with the zoglins. These guys will now take damage from the healing potions like they should, and they will be healed from the harming potions, which is something that was missed in the addition of them to the game, but has now been rectified. We have a partial bug fix for the soul speed enchantment being way too easy to get on Bedrock Edition, and loot chests inside of bastions will now be the only place to find soul speed inside of a chest. So if you go to a loot chest in like a desert temple or something, or like an inn city or whatever, those should no longer have soul speed. The loot chest has to be located inside of a bastion for the loot chest to now generate soul speed. The soul campfire will now drop soul soil when mined instead of charcoal like it did in previous updates, which means that we can now officially farm soul soil. All you need to do is craft the campfires using soul sand, which you can then get from a Piglin bartering. Craft that thing, place it down, and then break it any way that you like, and bam, you got yourself some soul soil. So soul soil is now a renewable resource in Minecraft. The totem of undying now applies the correct abilities to you when it affects you. So as you can see, if we open up our effects screen, it only gives us fire resistance 1 instead of fire resistance 2. A long-standing bug has finally been fixed, and this is one of the most annoying bugs possibly in the entire game. Mobs will no longer be able to control minecarts that they're sitting in. So as you can see, this villager is no longer going to be wandering around pushing that minecart all over these rails trying to get to a bed or a workstation or whatnot. The Piglin guys will no longer, control their minecarts when going for gold, and of course the creepers and mobs will no longer be able to control their minecarts when targeting you. So if you leave a mob in a minecart, it's gonna stay there. Berry bushes will once again always deal damage to the player when you're walking through them, as long as it's a fully grown one. These little ones that just kind of slow you down a little bit. And this bug has been in the game for several updates now. I think since like 1.13, 1.14. We have 2 little bug fixes with slimes that I can't really demonstrate because I don't have a snowy biome. The first one, slimes can now once again climb ladders, which is kind of cool. And also, if you have a slime chunk in a snowy biome like a tundra, slimes will once again spawn, which is a really good thing. thing. A long-standing bug with ranged weapons has been fixed. In previous updates, if a mob had, armor or weapons equipped, killing it with a ranged weapon would not drop any of that equipment, but now killing it with ranged weapons will have a chance to drop all of that equipment, which is lovely. This has a positive effect for trident killers and is actually quite the buff. So if we drop in a bunch of skeletons, all these guys that are wearing armor and all these guys that are holding bows will have a chance to drop all of that from the trident killers. So you're going to be getting a lot more non-stackable items and a lot more loot in general from your trident killers if you're killing mobs that have stuff equipped. These small red and brown mushrooms can now be bone mealed into the giant mushrooms on the Crimson and Warped Nelium, which is kind of an interesting little feature, and it makes sense. I can't think of any real technical uses for it. The one nice thing about using Nelium over Mycelium is that when it dies, you can just bone meal it back into place, whereas with Mycelium, you have to wait for it to manually grow. But that's not actually a valid argument because you can just use Podzol, and Podzol never dies. So I don't think there's any particular technical use for it, besides it being a cool feature of the game. While we're on the topic, the Warped Fungus and the Crimson Fungus can now be placed on Mycelium. No technical uses here, just a bug that was in the game where you couldn't place it on this stuff. Daniel is freaking out about this next change. Iron pickaxes can now be dropped from a raid. These guys are still way too loud. So if we go ahead and kill some of these guys, you might see one of them drop an iron pickaxe. That was a crossbow. I definitely know what a pickaxe looks like. But yeah, now from your raid farms, you'll be getting iron pickaxes, axes, swords, all kinds of lovely stuff. So as you can see, these 1.16 betas are absolutely killing it with the tiny little additions here and there. Loads and loads and loads of bug fixes. I actually cut out like a ton of this video. So if you would like to read the full changelogs of the 3 betas covered in today's video, check out the description, and of course check out the description for all the bug reports as well. Also, please do let me know your thoughts about all of these bug fixes, your thoughts on these feature implementations, and what you think in general about these upcoming 1.16 Nether update additions. I'm really happy about it, I'm really stoked about it, and I'm looking forward to all of it, mostly. There's nothing in here that I'm not happy about. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today's episode of Bugrock of the Week. I hope that you have enjoyed. If you did, of course, leave a like. It helps out the video and the channel a ton. If you are new here, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes on the channel. And otherwise, I'll see you down in the description and in the next one. Thank you so very much for watching. And then there was silence.